It's been well over a week now since I last dared to step outside my apartment. The world beyond these walls feels increasingly like a distant memory, overshadowed by the events that have unfolded, turning my life upside down. It all started innocently enough, or so I thought. A routine visit to a nearby McDonald's after a particularly grueling shift at work quickly spiraled into a nightmare. Exhausted and drained, I found myself in the restroom, trying to wash away the weariness of the day. That's when I heard her voice accusatory, filled with venom. A middle-aged woman, her blonde hair and sunglasses, indoors a stark contrast to the harsh fluorescent lights, caught me off guard with her aggressive tone. "What are you doing here?" Her accusation pierced the air, leaving me stunned and struggling to explain myself. Before I could gather my thoughts, she was filming me, hurling accusations that cut deep into my sense of self. The scene unfolded in a blur of confusion and fear. Her relentless tirade drew attention from everyone around us, turning bystanders into a silent audience to my public humiliation. I fled the scene, desperate to escape the piercing stares and the echoes of her accusations ringing in my ears. From that moment on, my world shrank. The incident at McDonald's wasn't just a one-off confrontation. It marked the beginning of a relentless campaign against me. The blue Chevrolet, weathered and worn, became a constant presence in my life. It would appear at the most unexpected times, in the parking lot of my workplace, lingering outside my apartment building. Sometimes I would catch a glimpse of someone inside, their gaze fixed on me, a silent threat hanging in the air. At work, the atmosphere grew increasingly hostile. Whispers followed me wherever I went, fueled by anonymous calls and messages that flooded our store's phone lines and email inboxes. Colleagues who once nodded in passing now cast wary glances, unsure of how to react to the rumors and accusations swirling around me. The harassment didn't stop there. Online forums and social media became battlegrounds where my personal photos and private information were weaponized against me. Strangers dissected my appearance with cruel precision, mocking every imperfection and vulnerability. The onslaught of negativity was relentless, seeping into every aspect of my life and leaving me feeling exposed and vulnerable. I turned to the authorities for help, hoping for some semblance of justice or protection. Yet, their responses fell short of what I needed. Reports were filed, assurances given, but the harassment persisted unchecked and unrelenting. Each day became a battle to maintain a sense of normalcy amidst the constant fear and uncertainty. A breaking point came one evening, as I left work under the watchful gaze of the Chevrolet parked ominously outside. Fueled by a mix of frustration and fear, I confronted the woman behind the wheel. The emotions that had been building inside me erupted in a torrent of anger and desperation. In a moment of impulsive defiance, I lashed out, a piece of concrete shattering the silence as it narrowly missed her car, colliding instead with another vehicle nearby. The repercussions were swift. Police were called, tempers flared, and I found myself overwhelmed by a flood of conflicting emotions. Tears flowed freely as the adrenaline of the moment gave way to a crushing sense of defeat and exhaustion. The aftermath brought a fragile peace, a temporary respite from the relentless harassment, but the scars of those days lingered, etched deep into my psyche. In the days that followed, I drew further into myself, grappling with the aftermath of my actions and the weight of everything that had transpired. Offers of support from my manager and colleagues felt hollow against the backdrop of suspicion and judgment that now colored every interaction. So here I am, confined to the safety of my apartment, eyes constantly scanning the street below for any sign of that familiar blue Chevrolet. It's become more than just a car. It's a symbol of the fear and uncertainty that now define my existence. Always watching, a reminder that the nightmare I thought would end continues to unfold, casting a shadow over my every move. This is my reality now. A life defined by paranoia, isolation, and the relentless pursuit of a semblance of normalcy in a world that feels increasingly hostile and unforgiving. It all started at the edge of Arkansas, in a nondescript diner where time seemed to stand still. My companions, Uncle Barry, a man of strong opinions and penchant for belittling others, and my cousins, James and Derek, two young men who mirrored their father's brashness more than I cared for. My mother had flown out to Shreveport to care for my ailing grandmother, leaving me in the unfortunate company of Uncle Barry. The soundtrack to our road trip, endless loops of Limp Bizkit blaring from the Lexus speakers, punctuated by Uncle Barry's dismissive remarks about everything from politics to pop culture. But it was that diner, that moment, which etched itself into my memory. The Marine, a young man no older than 20, clad in a worn uniform adorned with medals. He stood at the counter, a picture of quiet dignity amidst the diner's hustle. Uncle Barry, James, and Derek fixated on him like vultures eyeing prey. Their disdain for the uniform was palpable, their disbelief that this young man could possibly have earned such accolades evident in their sneers and muttered comments. Stolen valor, Uncle Barry spat out, a phrase I'd never heard before, but one that resonated with a venomous weight. Ordered to wait in the car, I watched from the window as Uncle Barry confronted the Marine outside. What began as a verbal confrontation escalated quickly. James and Derek, egged on by their father's disdain, joined in with a mixture of bravado and cruelty. It tore into the young man, accusing him of dishonoring the uniform, of disrespecting the sacrifice it symbolized. They stripped him of his dignity along with his uniform, leaving him battered and broken on the roadside. In the aftermath, as we sped away from the diner, our Lexus careened off the road in a desperate attempt to avoid a dark, looming figure. The crash was chaotic, violent, a cacophony of twisting metal and shattering glass. In those fleeting moments, I lost track of reality. James lay lifeless in the backseat, his phone still clutched in his hand, a grim reminder of the video that captured their cruelty. Derek was gone, vanished into the night, leaving Uncle Barry and I to navigate the wreckage and the haunting silence that followed. Amidst the chaos, amidst my uncle's cries for help and Derek's distant screams, the Marine's uniform, once a source of contention, disappeared, folded neatly on the hood of our wrecked car. It seemed to mock the turmoil that surrounded us. In the dark woods that lined the roadside, fear gripped us like a vice. Strange noises echoed through the trees, shadows danced in the headlights' dying glow, and then a figure emerged, a towering silhouette with a presence that seemed to defy nature, growling, wielding a blade. It was a specter of primal terror. In that moment of desperation, Uncle Barry, driven by instinct or panic, pushed me towards the figure and fled into the night. But fate had other plans. Miraculously, I was unharmed. The figure vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving me alone in the eerie stillness of the forest. Sirens in the distance signaled help arriving, but they brought no solace. Uncle Barry and Derek were never found, lost to the darkness that swallowed them whole. Only the Marine's uniform remained, a haunting reminder of the night's events etched into the car's scratched paint. Words my father lived and died by, a testament to honor and sacrifice. As I reflect on that night, I can't help but wonder about the figure in the woods. Was it the Marine's father seeking justice for his son, or something more primal, a guardian of justice or a harbinger of doom? The questions linger, haunting me like ghosts in the dark. It's a story that shaped me, a lesson in empathy and the unpredictable twists of fate. If these stories have touched you, your likes, shares, and subscriptions mean the world to us. Your support encourages us to bring you more compelling narratives. Thank you for being a part of our community.